Have you ever made a promise to yourself and broken it just hours later? You told yourself you'd wake up early. You hit snooze. You said you'd start that business. You watched another video instead. You promised you'd stop overthinking. Yet somehow, your mind pulled you right back into the same loop. What if I told you, it's not because you're lazy? It's not because you lack discipline. And it's definitely not because you're incapable. The truth is far more disturbing. Your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. And if you don't understand how it works, it will quietly sabotage every dream you have, while convincing you that you're simply not good enough. By the end of this video, you'll see your own mind differently. And once you see it, you can never unsee it. Imagine you're walking through a forest thousands of years ago. Every sound could be a predator. Every shadow could mean death. Your ancestors didn't survive because they chased success. They survived because they avoided danger. Your brain inherited that same operating system. The problem? You're no longer fighting lions. You're fighting deadlines, opportunities, relationships, dreams. But your brain can't tell the difference between physical danger and emotional discomfort. To your brain, asking someone out, starting a YouTube channel, launching a business, giving a presentation, all of these can feel just as threatening as facing a wild animal. So your brain presses the emergency button. It whispers, "Do it tomorrow. You're not ready. What if people laugh at you? Maybe later." And because that voice sounds like your own thoughts, you believe it. Here's something strange. Have you ever noticed that right before doing something important, you suddenly feel like cleaning your room? Or checking your phone? Or making coffee? Or watching just one more video? That's not random. That's your brain trying to protect you from uncertainty. Because uncertainty requires energy. And your brain hates spending unnecessary energy. It would rather repeat yesterday than risk tomorrow. Think about this. Why do people stay in jobs they hate for years? Why do they stay in unhealthy relationships? Why do they keep repeating habits that make them miserable? It's not because they enjoy suffering. It's because the familiar feels safer than the unknown. Even when the familiar is painful. That's one of the brain's greatest illusions. Safety feels better than possibility. And this illusion silently steals decades from people's lives. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Your brain has another trick. It's addicted to immediate rewards. Imagine two buttons. One gives you a tiny reward instantly. The other gives you a massive reward 6 months from now. Which one does your brain naturally reach for? The instant reward. That's why scrolling social media feels easier than learning a new skill. Why junk food beats healthy meals. Why binge watching wins over building your future. Every notification, every like, every short video gives your brain a tiny chemical reward. Your brain says, "Why work for something uncertain when I can feel good right now?" The scary part, modern technology knows this. Entire industries compete for one thing: your attention. Because attention controls behavior. And behavior controls your future. But there's another invisible enemy hiding beneath all of this. Your brain remembers pain far more vividly than success. Think back to school. Maybe one teacher embarrassed you in front of the class. Years later, you still remember it. But can you remember every compliment you received? Probably not. That's because negative experiences leave deeper marks. Thousands of years ago, forgetting a dangerous situation could get you killed. Today, that same survival feature becomes anxiety. One failed interview. Now you're afraid to apply again. One rejection. Now you assume everyone will reject you. One embarrassing moment. Now you avoid speaking in public forever. Your brain takes one event and turns it into an identity. I failed becomes I am a failure. See the difference? One describes an event. The other describes who you believe you are. And once your identity changes, your actions follow. Here's a simple experiment. Imagine two people trying to quit smoking. One says, "I'm trying to quit." The other says, "I'm not a smoker." Same goal. Different identity. The second person isn't fighting a habit. They're protecting who they believe they are. Your brain always tries to stay consistent with your identity. Which means if you secretly believe you're lazy, your brain will keep finding evidence to prove it. If you believe you're unlucky, it will ignore every opportunity that says otherwise. Not because reality agrees, but because your brain loves consistency more than truth. Now let's talk about fear. Most people think fear stops action. Actually, action often stops fear. Look back at something you were terrified to do. Maybe your first job interview, your first speech, your first workout. Before you started, your mind imagined disaster. After you finished, you realized it wasn't nearly as bad. The brain predicts, reality corrects. But if you never act, your brain never updates its prediction. So the fear survives. That's why avoiding fear feeds it. Every time you run away, your brain says, "Good decision, we survived." And next time, the fear becomes even stronger. Now imagine a prison with invisible walls. The door has been unlocked the entire time, but the prisoner never tries to leave, because they believe it's still locked. That's exactly how limiting beliefs work. The prison isn't outside, it's inside. Your brain creates stories. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm not talented. I missed my chance. And here's the dangerous part. The brain doesn't care whether these stories are true. It only cares whether they're familiar. So it repeats them every day until they become your reality. But there's one thing your brain cannot ignore: evidence. Not motivation. Not positive thinking. Evidence. Every small promise you keep to yourself becomes evidence. Every uncomfortable action becomes evidence. Every difficult conversation becomes evidence. Every workout. Every page read. Every project completed. Every time you do something your old identity wouldn't do. Your brain has to rewrite its story. Slowly, the identity changes. Then the habits. Then the results. Notice the order. Results don't create identity. Identity creates results. Here's something almost nobody talks about. Your brain isn't your enemy. It's an overprotective bodyguard. Imagine a bodyguard who refuses to let you leave your house because something bad might happen. He means well, but eventually, his protection becomes your prison. Your brain is doing the same thing. It wants certainty, comfort, safety. But everything meaningful in life lives just outside those boundaries. Confidence, freedom, growth, love, purpose. None of them are found inside your comfort zone. Your brain will never wake up one morning and say, "You know what, let's risk everything today." That's not its job. Its job is survival. Your job is deciding when survival is no longer enough. Because one day, you'll look back at your life, and you'll realize something. The biggest obstacle was never the economy. Never your parents. Never your boss. Never your circumstances. It was the invisible conversation happening inside your own mind. The voice that wanted comfort over growth. Safety over possibility. Familiarity over freedom. The good news: that voice doesn't disappear. Even successful people still hear it. The difference is, they stopped obeying it. So the next time your mind tells you, "You're not ready," remember this. Those words aren't a prediction of your future. They're an echo from your past. And echoes only have power if you keep answering them.